Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishavabhyo Namo Namaha. Om Gyan Tirumandasya, Gyanjana Salakya, Chakshumilitam Yana, Tashmai Shri Guru Namaha. Chinada Pisunichina, Sarora Pisahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kitane Sadahari. Anya Blaste Sunyam Gyan Kamriana Vitam, Anukalinya Krishnu Shilanam, Bhakti Uttama. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams, beautiful devotees, beautiful sisters and brothers. So nice to see you again. Another program. We had a beautiful program glorifying Gurudev today. And today now at 6 o'clock is the, although Houston time midday, is the Kartik program, day 9 of Kartik. And we're really getting up a beautiful head of steam now into this wonderful, glorious month of Damodarastakam. And we are, we're so lucky to have Srimati Syamarani Didi graciously agreeing to speak weekly to us on the Kartik program. So I'm very happy to welcome her to our beautiful assembly to speak on Kartik pastimes. Welcome, Syamarani. Thank you so much for coming.
Begin now. Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tvadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Nama Yam Pravajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Tarawajuhava Putredi Tanmayataya Taravo Benedos Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vahinai Aparada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamaditarangamadye Kripamayi Tvam Sharanam Prapadyam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavoivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances. Can you hear me well, Yasoda? Yes? I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Stotra Sat Shishman Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sat Shishman Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to all of our Guru Varga, to all the assembled devotees. Shripad Jashodanandan Prabhu requested me to speak specifically about Sri Radhakund. He said that Tridandi Swami didn't speak very much about Radhakund, so he asked me to do so. So Sri Radhakund, as Gurudev was saying, when in his glorification of Radhakund on Parikarama, we're not really seeing, when we go to see Radhakund here, we are not really seeing Radhakund. We're not seeing the thousands of kunjas, thousands of kundas, the the kunjas of Lalita, Vishaka, which are made of diamonds and rubies and moonstones, and the kunjas of the cowherd boys, numerous kunjas of the cowherd boys, like Subal, Arjun, Sridham, which they donated to the Sakis. We're not seeing the lotus flowers, the peacocks, the parrots. So that is called Dristaman Prakash, or seeing nothing. As you know, there's Uppercut Prakash, that is Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, which is only manifest in this world to the pure devotees. And then there's Prakat Prakash, where Krishna is manifest in this world 5,000 years ago. And then there's Dristaman Prakash, which is we're seeing nothing. That's my vision of Radhakund, is Dristaman Prakash, or seeing nothing, seeing some cracks and stones and monkeys and things like that, turtles. So what Radhakund really is, when we have the eyes, see with the eyes of love, see with the eyes of knowledge, Radhakund is the highest place in all of existence, in this material world, in the spiritual world, in Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan. So how did Radhakund get started? Of course, Radhakund is eternal, and yet Radha and Krishna and their associates perform human-like pastimes to make it look like something is happening as a consequence of something else. So Krishna killed many demons that were sent by Kamsa, and one of them is Aristasura, the bull demon, who was a giant bull and was just about to kill all of Krishna's cows and calves and associates. And Krishna took that bull and killed him very easily. So after that, he wanted to associate with the gopis, but they said to him, don't touch us because you've just committed the sin of killing a bull. So Krishna said, I didn't kill a bull. I killed a demon who was in the form of a bull. They said, never mind, still he was a bull. And so you can't touch us. Well, what do I have to do then to purify myself so that I can touch you? So they said, you have to take bath in all the holy rivers in the whole world. So he immediately summoned all the holy rivers to come to that very place called Arit Gaon, which became known as because of Krishna's killing Aristasura there. So all the holy places came, and after offering obeisances to Krishna, they dove into and became Shyamakund. Well, the gopis wanted to always do things better than Krishna, so they started digging out another kund with their clay pots. And Krishna seeing their labor, and they were going to go and get water from Manasi Ganga and bring it like in a row of passing it to passing it to passing it. So Krishna suggested that all those holy places come and take shelter of Radhakund, but they weren't interested. They wanted to do it themselves and better than Krishna. So they all came to Radharani's lotus feet and begged her. And because of their sincere appeal, Radharani agreed, and they flooded in from Shyamakund to Radhakund. And Krishna takes bath in Radhakund for his own perfection 3 times daily. So after Krishna went to Dwarka, the kunds, Radhakund and Shyamakund, where Krishna saw everything about Radhakund as Radharani herself, like the bumblebees as her moving eyes, moving eyes, darting eyes, as the lotuses as her lotus-like eyes, as the waves as her beautiful breasts. Everything he saw as Radha. And this is the conclusion of Upadeshamrita. The essence of all advice is to take shelter of Radhakund, because just as Radharani is the most dearly beloved of Krishna, of anyone, so her kund, Radhakund, is also more dear to Krishna than his own life. So the Srila Rupa Goswami ends Upadeshamrita by saying, who is such a foolish person that he would not take shelter of this Radha and Kunda? After Krishna left for Dwarka, the two Kunds disappeared, and Krishna's great grandson, Vajranabha, just as he established so many deities of Krishna, he also reestablished Shyamakund and Radhakund. And then gradually they again disappeared. And so 500 years ago, 600 years ago, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here, he came to Vrindavan and he was wanting to find all the pastime places of Sri Krishna. So he came here to this place of Aritgaon, and he asked the residents here if they knew where Shyamakund and Radhakund is. And they said, no, we don't know any such Kund. We only know Kalikate and Gaurikate. Kalikate means the dark pond, and Gaurikate is the white or golden pond. So Mahaprabhu took bath in there, even though they were just like tiny little well sizes. And he began weeping uncontrollably in ecstasy and calling out, "Oh Radha, oh Radha." So he established himself. No one else, even though the Goswamis established so many holy places in Vrindavan, only Krishna himself in the form of Radharani could have discovered Radhakund and Shyamakund. So then Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, after he left Puri, after the disappearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came here to Vrindavan and came here to Radhakund and did bhajan. So he was ordered by Mahaprabhu to come and take shelter of Sri Rupa and Sanatan, which he did. And he was performing bhajan here. And what happened one day, because he didn't have a hut, he was just performing no matter what the weather was. He was so absorbed in his prayers to Srimati Radhika for her service that he was oblivious to the surroundings. And from a distance, Srila Sanatana Goswami noticed that one tiger came and was passed right by Raghunath Das Goswami and drank some water from Radhakund and then passed him by again. So he became apprehensive and he suggested to Raghunath Das Goswami that he have a hut and stay in the hut instead of being in the open air. So Sanatana Goswami personally arranged to have a hut built for Raghunath Das Goswami, a bhajan kutir. Another time when Raghunath Das Goswami was doing bhajan here, it was very, very hot. And Srimati Radhika came up from behind him and held her cloth over his head to shade him. Very beautiful exchanges when one is fully absorbed in Srimati Radhika, how much she takes care, just as Krishna takes care. One time, when he was doing bhajan at Radhakund, one big Akbar, a big like emperor or king, government man, came with all of his vast army of camels, elephants, horses, infantry, and he wanted to find a giant kund or lake where all of his men and animals could drink water because they were very thirsty. So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami said, here, they can all drink here in Radhakund. So the Akbar said, what? Even one of my elephants can't drink water to his full satisfaction in this little tiny piece of water. So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami kept insisting. Excuse me, I have to go get a throat spray. So upon his insistence, he and his men drank, and even though they had a vast army, they were completely satisfied and astonished. So another time, one big merchant who was coming from, I believe it was Badrinarayan, he said that the Lord ordered him to give a donation to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami to excavate and make deeper and larger this Radhakund and Shamakund. So after some insistence, he did. The Lord also told him to take advantage of that opportunity. And he, they made Radhakund, and it was a square, and they were going to do the same thing with Krishnakund. But on one side of, Shamakund, on one side of Shamakund, there were these trees there, 5 trees, who were actually the Pandavas, who were doing bhajan in order to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Of course, even if they could enter, they couldn't enter more than grass or trees because they didn't have the qualification for the residents of Vrindavan. But anyway, they were doing bhajan there. And when the excavation was about to go on, they gave Raghunath Das Goswami a dream that please don't cut us down to make this Kund square. Leave us because we're doing bhajan. And so that's why, although Radhakund is a square, Shamakund is kind of like a crooked shape because Krishna is crooked. So the shape of Govardhan, because Radhakund and Shamakund are the most elevated places in Govardhan. So Govardhan is shaped like a peacock, and the tail of the peacock is one part of Govardhan, Ponchari, and the 2 eyes of the peacock are Radhakund and Shamakund. Oh, I forgot to mention that the reason that we're talking about Radhakund today is because today is the appearance day of Radhakund. So it's a very auspicious day. Right near here is a place called Julantal. And Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami were sitting right at the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, discussing the pastimes of Krishna. And then during the conversation, Srila Sanatana Goswami said to Rupa Goswami, oh, by the way, what are you writing these days? He said, well, I'm writing Chatu Pushpanjali, which is a very beautiful description of, which contains a very beautiful description of Srimati Radhika, that her eyes are just like a blue lotus, her complexion is golden, just like Garochana, and her braid, which is braided with many valuable jewels. The head of her, the bottom part of her braid is just like a female snake. So when Sanatana Goswami heard this, he said, well, can't you make an analogy that's a little sweeter than a female snake? So Srila Rupa Goswami told him, yes, please edit it. And if you can think of a better analogy, please tell me and I'll be happy to change it. So Srila Sanatana Goswami couldn't think of anything right off the bat, but he was thinking about it as he went back to his own Bhajan Kutir. And on the way, he saw that there was a swing. And on the swing was a very beautiful young girl, and her 2 young girlfriends were swinging her. And he became enamored by her beauty and by the whole swing situation. And all of a sudden, he saw what looked like to him a black snake slithering down and up her back. And he called out, Lali, Lali, which means, oh, darling daughter, there's a black snake on you, do something, get it off. So all of a sudden, the friends disappeared, the girl disappeared, and the swing disappeared, and nothing was there. And then Srila Sanatana Goswami got the realization that, oh my goodness, that was her hair. And so Srila Rupa Goswami gave actually the best analogy, the true analogy. In fact, even her maidservants like Sri Vinod Manjari. When Srila Gurudev was guiding me in doing her painting as the number one, there are 4 Manjaris. The number one is Sri Vinod Manjari. And you'll notice that she has a wavy kind of braid. And Srila Gurudev said, when Krishna sees this braid, even of Radharani's Manjari, what to speak of Radharani, he becomes so overwhelmed and enchanted that he practically faints. There are many acharyas who have their bhajan kutis and or samadhis here, like, for example, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Goswami, Gopal Bhatta, all the 6 Goswamis. Raghunath Das Goswami, of course, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, all have their bhajan kutirs or samadhis here. And when we go around Radhakund, we can take shelter and roll in the dust of all these samadhi mandirs. The personalities are actually still there in samadhis. Srila Gurudev said about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he will guide us forever from his samadhi, and that's so true of all of our acharyas. So as we go from one to the other, we roll in the dust, take the dust. It's by rolling it, automatically the dust comes all over our body. And then we particularly take the dust on our heads, on our eyelids, so that our vision becomes clear. Because right now we have cataracts on our eyes, and that's why we have Dristaman Prakash. And on our tongue, so that it can go all the way in our body, and in our hearts, so that our hearts become pure. Srila Gurudev said on Parikarama one year, that you all think that, oh, this dust here is contaminating me. It'll make me dirty. But don't think like that. This dust is all ras. Ras means it's what Radharani tastes in her association with Krishna. It's what Krishna tastes in his association with her. It's what the Pulinda girls put all over their faces when they became overwhelmed with calm, when they saw Krishna's footprints, the dust from Krishna's footprints mixed with the red kumkum on the breasts of Radharani, mixed with the dew that's stuck on the grass. So that's the ras. Each atom is also Baladev because he is the existence potency. So we're so fortunate to come to this place today, Sri Radhakund. Dhanavad Pranam. I think that was my 20 minutes. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
That's beautiful, Syamarani. Thank you so much. Did you want to take any more time, Syamarani?
Well, there's questions. We can continue through the questions.
Yeah. I have a few questions. One for me and two.
I was trying to cover a lot of area. Did I go too fast? Did I speak too fast?
No.
Okay.
It's perfect. I have a question from me and a couple of anonymous questions. I'll start with one of the anonymous questions. You mentioned about, I'm not sure what the question was, a bit unclear in terms of the quotation, but something about how Krishna as the perfect seeks perfection by bathing in Radhakund 3 times a day. So how can you elucidate on how does the perfect seek perfection?
Because, right, that's right. In other words, he wants to perfect his life. He wants to make his life successful. I'll give one incident. There's a verse that Srila Gurudev often quotes. Yasha kadapi vasananchala kela nota danyati danya pavanena kritartamani yogendra durgamagati madhusudanopi tasya namostu vrishabhanu bhuvo dishepi. So Radharani is in Man for change, and Krishna is trying to appease her. He can't do anything to appease her. She's sitting on the bank of Radhakund. So he goes on the other side of Radhakund and laments. So the air wants to do a service because everything in Vrindavan is fully conscious and in rapture. So the air wants to do a service. So the air goes under Radharani's veil, under her veil, and flies to the other side of Radhakund, goes under Krishna's nostril. And because just as Krishna is, um, just as Krishna is absolute, that is, he's non-different from his name, his form, his fragrance, so is Srimati Radhika. So when the fragrance went under Krishna's nostril, he thought, oh, now I've attained Srimati Radhika. Now my life is successful. So perhaps I used the wrong word of perfect. I meant successful. So Krishna thinks he's successful when he can just take full shelter of Srimati Radhika. That's why in that song, the Kirtan, Shrita Kamala Kuchamandala, it says that Krishna takes shelter of the breasts of Srimati Radhika. There's, there's so many mantras that Srila Gurudev utters before class. And particularly in the 90s, he would utter this one, which he especially does during Kartik, which is Angashamalim Chatabi Rabito Mandi Kritendi Varam Jadyam Jagudarochi Sambagaritam Patam Varasya Shriya Vrindaranya Nivasanam Hridila Sattama Viramodaram Radha Skandani Veshito Julabajam Jyayandamodaram Jyayandamodaram. When Gurudev says it, your heart just totally goes to pieces. So, because of his realization. So I worship Damodar. I offer my obeisances to Damodar. I meditate on that Damodar who has a beautiful Vaijayanti Mala garland that goes down to his knees, whose beautiful garments are as brilliant as lightning, whose complexion is just like a fresh rain cloud, who lives in Vrindavan, and who rests his arm on the left, who rests his hand on the left arm of Srimati Radhika. So what does that mean? Let me see if I can find it. It's on page 18 of the songbook. I want to get it right about which limb we're talking about here. The meaning of which is that Krishna has all these attributes, but the line, actually, Gurudev just takes us deep into everything. It's just so incredible. And he rests his splendorous left hand, splendorous left hand rests upon the shoulder. His left hand rests upon the shoulder of Srimati Radhika. I meditate upon that Damodar. So what does that mean, that his splendorous left hand rests on the shoulder of Srimati Radhika? It means that he cannot exist, he cannot live without Srimati Radhika. He's fully dependent upon her. There's one verse in Valab Kusmanjali by our Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, whose Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi Mandir is prominently in the temple in Sri Radhakund, that he wants to serve Srimati Radhika when Krishna is in Gauri Kund. He's with Chandra, and then Srila Raghunath Das Goswami will go there and say, there's a big bull, Aristasura, and he's coming to attack any minute now. If you don't go there and do something, then your calves are going to die. So then Krishna says, yes, I'm just now coming. And he tells Chandravali, I'll just be right back. As they say in India, just now coming, I'm just now coming. And so Krishna's knowing where he's going, knowing that Rati Manjari wants to bring him to Radharani and give him a good reason for leaving Chandravali's Kunj. Krishna is so overwhelmed that he has to rest his arm on the air and take shelter of the air, which carries him to Radhakund, Srimati Radhika's abode. So he's fully dependent on her for his happiness, for his life. Like he'll say to her, if you don't forgive me, then what is the use of my life? Please make my life worthwhile by putting your foot on my lotus head, on my head, lotus foot on my head. Does that answer the question?
Well, I haven't heard back, but if I don't hear back, I assume it does, because the question was anonymous. The next anonymous question, oh, and then we have a live question, fantastic, is can you expand a bit on the mystery of Ananga Manjari's Kund in the middle of Radha Kund?
Yes, actually, let me get some help to do that. Actually, in the section where Srila Gurudev is discussing from Srila Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur's Krishna Bhavanamrita, he's talking about what each of the kunjas of the Sakis are made of. Let me just find what page this is on, because Ananga Manjari's kunj, which is right in the center of Radha Kund, and from the bank of the Kund, there's kind of like a bridge that leads to Ananga Manjari's Kund. Let me just find this, Radha Kund 139 to 181. It's like a very major section in this Brajmandal Parikrama because it's the most important place. 139. Okay, so, okay, here we go. So north of Sri Radha Kund is the Kunja of Lalita Devi, Lalita Nandita, which is shaped like a golden 8-petaled lotus. And I want to comment on that in just a minute. In the northeast is Vishakha Nandara, the bejeweled Kunja Vishakasaki, which is shaped like a 16-petaled lotus. In the east is Chitranandara, the Kunj of Chitrasaki, which displays an amazing variety of forms and colors. In the southeast is the Kunj of Indulekasaki, Indulekanandara. It is shaped like an 8-petaled lotus and is made of diamonds, because Indu means moon, so diamonds. In the south is the Kunja of Champakalatasaki, Champakalatanandara Kunj, shaped like a golden lotus. And in the southwest is the lotus-like Kunj of Rangadevi, Rangadevi Sukada, which is inlaid with blue sapphires. Tungavidyanandara is the Kunj of Tungavidyasaki. This Kunj in the west resembles a lotus made of red rubies. In the northwest lies Anandara, or Sudevi's Sukada Kunj, the lotus-shaped Kunj of Sudevi, who's the sister of Rangadevi, which is inlaid with emeralds. In the center of Radha Kund is Ananga Manjari Anandara Kunj, shaped like a 16-petaled lotus inlaid with moonstones. This Kunj, also known as Swananda Sukada Kunj, belongs to Ananga Manjari. You can see here, oh, you can't see here, but this is Radha Kund, you can see here, sorry. This is the bank of Radha Kund, and here's a bridge leading to the middle of Radha Kund, where you see the Kunja of Ananga Manjari. So it is connected with the bank of the Kund by a bridge made of moonstones. So her, moonstones. Okay, so the question was what? I forgot. I got lost.
Can you expand on the pastimes of Ananga Manjari's Kund in the middle of Radha Kund?
I can't expand on that too much, except that what I can expand on is who is Ananga Manjari. Yeah. She's also like, there's Nityananda, and his power is Jahnava Devi, and Jahnava Devi is Ananga Manjari. Or you can say that Nityananda Prabhu is Ananga Manjari because Jahnava is his power. So Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj was once explaining that Nityananda Prabhu is a cowherd boy. So how can he give, and we do pray to him in many of our kirtans for serving Radha and Krishna in Madhurya Ras, like Nitai Padakamalam. Gurudev said that this can give us, Prabhupada said that this can give us entrance into Rasa Lila. So how is he able to do that? Because he's also a Nangamanjari. Because Baladev likes to serve because he's the chief assistant, just as Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Baladev is the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. And he serves Krishna in all ways. There's no way he doesn't. So like he serves as the land because he's Dhameswara. He manifests all the different Dhams. He serves as the elder brother, like a parent to protect Krishna. He serves as a Saka. But then he also wants to serve as Dasya also. And he manifests to help Krishna in creating this, engaging in his Srishti Lila, creating the material world. Balaram becomes all the Purusha avatars to breathe in and out the universes, to enter into all the conditioned souls' hearts, so on and so forth. And he also wants to serve in Madhurya Ras, and so he becomes a Nangamanjari. So a Nangamanjari is, touchful wise, she's that, but as far as her pastime goes, I only know that she's both an independent Saki, Sambho Gatmika Saki, like Lalita and Vishaka, and she's also Tat Tat Bhavi Chatmika's mood Saki as a Manjari. That's all I know about her, except that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur takes shelter of her and he prays to her. He also has this beautiful prayer to Janava Devi as the abode of bhakti. So, and who is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? He's Kamala Manjari himself, who associates with the Nanga Manjari and all the other Manjaris and all the Sakis all the time. And he's what's called a Kaya Vyuha Roop manifestation of Srimati Radhika, means an expansion as a Manjari. And he comes down here and then sings all these songs to give us ultimately connection. And an interesting thing that Srila Gurudev told us at the airport one day is that if we pray to all those higher ups, like the Sakis and, the Acharyas a little further from us in time, they would consider our anartas, whether to listen to our prayers or not. But Sri Guru doesn't consider our anartas. That's why he comes down and talks with us and everything. So therefore we do Guru Vandana before any of the other Vandanas. And so he brings us, and by his mercy, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Lalita and Vishaka, they all can respond to our prayers only by Guru's mercy. So we see the importance of Sri Guru in the process of bhakti. So I'm sorry I couldn't give you more pastimes of her. That was the best I could do.
The response to your answer is that if Radharani is Krishna's Shakti and Janavi Devi is Nityananda's Shakti, and the moiety essentially appear as Mahaprabhu, is there an equivalent for Lord Nityananda and Janavi Devi?
I missed you from the moiety. What were you saying?
So you explained that Nityananda, that Janavi Devi is the Shakti of Nityananda Prabhu, and Radha is the Shakti of Krishna. So that moiety, Radha and Krishna, appear as Mahaprabhu. Is there an
what
equivalent?
Does a moiety mean?
Oh, moiety is two as one, Krishna and Radha together. So in the same way as that moiety appears as Lord Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is there an equivalent for Nityananda and Janavi Devi?
So you're asking that, Krishna, Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radhika.
Yeah.
So you're asking, is there an equivalent with, he's Balaram. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Balaram is a Nangamanjari. Balaram is Nityananda. Nityananda's power is Janava. Janava is a Nangamanjari. So if you're talking about Radha and Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so there's Balaram as Krishna became Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani. So Balaram became Nityananda in the mood of, not in the mood of Janava, not in the mood of Balaram's wife Revati. So I really can't answer that any more than what I just said, which I'm sure is not sufficient.
Thank you. Radhika Didi from London. Thank you, Radhika.
Dandavats Didi. You sent a class earlier today by Srila Bhakti Vallabh Titamaj, and he spoke in that class how Jagadguru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wouldn't actually bathe in Radhakund himself. And then, like, there's a pastime that I've heard where Srila Prabhupada is chastising disciples for just swimming in Radhakund and not having the proper mood. I've only experienced Gurudev taking us on Parikarama and just giving instructions to bathe after we've sung the prayers. But I think I'm missing the mood to actually perform that bathing. What mood do we, if Jagadguru isn't bathing and there's some soberness about bathing in Radhakund, what is the proper mood that we should actually be bathing in her waters?
The mood is that she's our worshipful deity. We're praying for her service, and all the moods of the acharyas of wretchedness, worthlessness, disqualification. But by the mercy of my Gurudev, somehow or other I'm here. And although I'm not seeing you, my prayer is that you will reveal yourself in my heart. And so I'm purifying myself by the touch of your water, which I cannot experience. I'm only experiencing water, just very humble and meek. And, you know, in the old days, Prabhupada didn't allow people to do things because he knew what the mood would be. And, you know, we were just coming out of animal life, and none of us had any kind of role model, because we were all coming in at the same time. We were all brand new, coming out of animal life. And so knowing our mood, that it would just be playful and enjoying spirit, Prabhupada said that, don't bathe in Radhakund. And then, you know, because then, okay, I'm jumping in with my feet in Radhakund thinking that it's an ordinary lake. And Gurudev knew that the devotees were already trained for so many years. And so having also given hundreds of classes about how to see Radhakund as the embodiment of Radharani herself, in other words, Shastra Shaksus, Jnana Shaksus, seeing through the eye of scripture and through the eye of knowledge, that Krishna himself bathes in Radhakund, Krishna himself worships Radhakund, Krishna himself worships Radharani. The highest feature of Krishna is in falling at her feet, decorating her, serving her. So by thinking and thinking, and then praying and praying, and that's why we have all those prayers that we have of worthlessness and humility that all of our acharyas are giving. Gaurapahuna Bhajyo Mainu, Gopinath Mama Nivedana, all the prayers of humility. So the idea is that all of that would gradually be giving us sanskars or impressions on our heart of who Radharani is to us. And you know, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who resided at Radhakund, he would say, "Oh Radharani, if you don't give me your mercy now, then I'm burning up in a conflagration, in a ocean fire, which is much more dangerous than a forest fire, of separation from you. If you don't give me your mercy now, then in the next moment I'll die." So we don't have that mood, but we want that mood to come to us. So just like at the time of you want to take a trip on an airplane. Srila Prabhupada gave this analogy. If you already have a ticket, then it's likely that you'll get on the plane. If you don't have a ticket and you're going standby and you come at the last minute, every chance is there may not be room for you. So similarly, everything depends on the time of death, what we think at the time of death, where we go next, on one hand. So to prepare for that moment of death, throughout our life, we want to do bhajan so that at the time of death, we're doing bhajan, or even before that, we want to enter into Bhava Bhakti and, Ashakti, Bhav, Prem, and all that. So that all takes a lot of work every day. Just like, what do I think when I do my Gayatri mantras? That depends on how I've been acting and thinking and speaking, and have I been criticizing? Have I been speaking about Radha and Krishna and all that? And then when I come and do my Gayatri, all of my previous activities come to bear its fruit when I'm meditating on the Gayatri mantra or on the Hare Krishna mantra. Does that make sense? So when I'm bathing in Radha Kund, then I want to bring all of that training that I've been getting to mind, and with a very prayerful mood. I can sing the bhajans, I can sing to Radha, I can sing to Radha Kund. And with that mood, do Achman very honorably and bathe. Is that helpful?
Yes, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, Syamarani. We're going to zoom over the Atlantic now to Connecticut in the United States to Shriman Raghava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. I actually wanted you to ask it on my behalf, but I find that the previous question, which was a beautiful question, actually answered also my question to, well, or maybe I can ask you, Syamarani, Didi, Dandavat Pranams, Hare Krishna, to, like we are there right now. You have taken us there. And like Srila Gurudev or some of the sannyasis would oftentimes lead us in a prayer and to prepare our hearts, to take the most benefit from being here in this place. So I would be very, very grateful if you are so inclined to bring us there and to do a prayer together.
Yes, there's a prayer. Radhe Shikeli. Well, there's Radha Kund Tattva. Radha Tata. Radha Kunda Tata. And then there's a Radha Kund Astakam. It's not in that book. Oh, starting with Rishabha. And what are you saying, Vasanti? Vasanti's trying to help. Where? Valapakus Manjali. Oh, there's a prayer in Valapakus Manjali to Radha Kund that the divine couple are always performing their pastimes on your shore and in your waters. Please bring me to that place and engage me in the service of Radha and Krishna there. And there are so many services given in Valapakus Manjali in relation to Radha Kund. That is, Krishna's decorating Radharani, and Raghunath Das Goswami is praying, ever since on your lake, I was shown the light by a certain Manjari named Rupa Manjari. From that moment, I desired to see the red lac on your lotus feet. So there's many, many prayers of various kinds of services that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is praying in Valapakus Manjali for the service of Radharani. When will Radharani teach me how to play the veena so that I can sing so many songs in their glorification? So it's a many. But as far as now, can you get the new songbook? Is this it? Okay, so here's Radha Kundastakam. But I don't think all of you have I don't think all of you have the brand new songbook, do you? I'll say the English, and maybe Radhika would like
What's the
to.
first line, Syamarani?
Brishabha, Brsabha.
Rishabhadhana Jut Dhanasa.
Yeah, and then what would the tune be?
I have it in the chat here. There's a link in the chat.
Purisha Banu Sutta, that one?
No, Brishabha Danuja. What's the tune?
Nasa Narma Dharmukti Rangaya.
It's not in this book.
Brishabha Dan.
I send the link to you. Shara.
Thanks, Pooh.
Brishabhadanu Janisan Narmada Mokti Rangaya Nikalanija Saki Bir Yatsva Hastena Purnam Prakatitam Api Brindaranya Ragya Pramodais Tad Adis Radha Kundam Eva Shrayome. I'll read the English. Is that good? Of the Radhakundastakam?
Perfect, perfect.
After the killing of Aristasura, Srimati Radhika and her Sakis exchanged many joking words with Sri Krishna concerning the necessary atonement for one who has committed the offense of killing a bull. As a result, the Queen of Vrindavan, Srimati Radhika, and her Sakis joyfully excavated and filled Sri Radhakund with their own hands. May that immensely fragrant Radhakund be my shelter. In the land of the hearts of those who bathe in Radhakund, a desire tree of the superlative prem, which is not attainable even for Krishna's principal queens in Dwarka, will arise. May that supremely charming Radhakund be my shelter. And by the way, because Radhakund is non-different from Radharani, any prayer to Radharani for bathing in Radhakund and for standing in front or sitting in front of Radhakund is perfect. For the pleasure of Srimati Radhika, even Sri Krishna himself, yearning to attain the merciful sidelong glance, regularly bathes in Radhakund, carefully observing all the appropriate rituals. May that supremely enchanting Radhakund be my shelter. May that supremely enchanting Radhakund, which the moon of Braj, Sri Krishna, loves as much as he loves the crown jewel amongst the sweet girls of Braj, Srimati Radhika, and which he has made known by the name of Radhika herself, be my shelter. The mercy obtained by serving Radhakund makes the desire creeper of Prem for the Prince of Braj sprout and is celebrated for bearing the flower of service to my Swamini, Srimati Radhika. May that supremely charming Radhakund be my shelter. Gloriously manifest on the banks of Radhakund are 8 kunjas named after Radhika's principal Sakis. Filled with the sweet humming of bumblebees, these kunjas act as stimuli for the amorous pastimes of the divine couple, because the divine couple go to the various kunjas of the Sakis. And like, for example, if one of Radharani's in-laws come and they're in the Saki's kunj, I think that's Rangadevi, that's made of blue sapphires, they'll only see Radha, but they won't see Krishna. So that they do pastimes according to what the kunj is made of. But I want to make a very important point before I read the rest of the slokas, which is that when our acharyas, like Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, say that this kunj is made of moonstones, this kunj is made of diamonds, this kunj is made of sapphires, the trees in Braj, some trees are made of emeralds, and they're entwined by creepers made of diamonds, and their fruits are made of rubies. And in other places in Vrindavan, the trees are made of rubies, and they're entwined by creepers made of lapis lazuli, and their fruits are made of moonstones. It doesn't really mean that. What it actually means is that, because we're on that slok where it's talking about the kunjas of the Sakis, what it actually means is everything is natural, but they're more than the jewels of this world, and they're more than the jewels of Vaikuntha, and that's why it's said that they're made of jewels. So, filled with the sweet humming of bumblebees, these kunjas act as stimuli for the amorous pastimes of the divine couple. The lotus feet of that Radhika who sends Krishna to enjoy and all the different kunjas are desired by everyone. Radharani likes that Krishna, that her Sakis also can meet with Krishna. May that supremely enchanting Radha Kund be the shelter of my life. Situated in an exquisite dais on the bank of Radha Kund and accompanied by her beloved Sakis, our Swamini Srimati Radhika charmingly engages in sweet joking words with Sri Krishna, the moon of Braj. These playful verbal exchanges are enhanced by the suggestion of so many innuendos. May that Radha Kund be the shelter of my life. That is, there's verbal sweet joking discussions, and then there's suggestions, there's hints, there's double meanings, there's riddles, there's glances, because books can be told to each other just by a glance. May that very charming and especially fragrant Radha Kund, where intoxicated with love the divine couple and the Sakis daily cavort with great joy in the water so fragrant with exquisite lotus flowers, be the sole shelter of my life. To that devotee who, in a resolute mood of aspiring to serve Srimati Radhika, reads this charming prayer describing Sri Radha Kund, even in their present body, Sri Krishna will quickly grant them darshan of not only his beloved Radhika, but also of their many variegated amorous pastimes. Witnessing these pastimes and envisioning himself serving Jugal Kishore in various ways, such a devotee will feel immense jubilation. That is that prayer.
Syamarani, we're coming close to the hour. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes, I do. It's what you have time for.
Wonderful. Hari Priya Didi.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Raghav.
I also want to say that in verses 76 and 77, particularly of Alap Kusmanjali, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami wants to serve Radharani at this particular time when they're engaged in Prem Vivart Vilas or Vibrama Vilas, where it's a certain very high stage of mutual prem that they think they're each other. And Radharani thinks that she's Krishna and he thinks that she's Radha. And they decorate, while trembling, they decorate each other as each other. Radha decorates Krishna as Radha, and he decorates her as Krishna. That also happens here at Radha Kund. I'm saying it in a normal way, but when a pure devotee says it, like his body is covered with tears and trembling and hair standing on end and those things. Question.
Syamarani, we have Hari Priya Didi asking a question from, I don't know where you're calling from, my dear.
I'm calling from New Zealand.
Oh, Hari Priya. Okay. Dhanyavad Pranam, Hari Priya.
I'm not quite sure if this is a good question or not. I'm just wondering, is Tulsi Devi in her plant form, is she in Goloka Vrindavan at all?
Sorry, say that again.
Tulsi Devi,
Yes.
you know, the plant, is she in Goloka Vrindavan?
Devi of course. In fact,
Okay.
even when we see her in front of us as a plant, she's in Goloka Vrindavan. Have you ever heard of the Vrindadevi Astakam? So in that Vrindadevi Astakam, it states that she is a gopi who arranges very intimate associate expansion of Yoga Maya for Kunj pastimes, controlling Kunj pastimes. And she arranges what deer, what peacocks, what plants, what trees are going to bloom. She's the choreographer of Vrindavan. And there in the Vrindadevi Astakam, it says, in this world of humans, where is it? Do you know where the verse is, Santi? Oh, yes, here, yes. Tam kir jase sat vadatan chavidbir lila bidana kila Krishna shaktis tavoeva mortis tulasi niloke vrinde namaste charanara vindam. Those conversant in devotional scriptures, the Bhakti Tantras, glorify you as Krishna's pastime potency, Lila Shakti. In this world, you assume the form of a tulsi tree. So all the tulsis, innumerable tulsis here, they're just one person, Vrinda Devi. They're not many, many people.
So in Goloka Vrindavan, does she have a fragrance?
I mean, her body, she's a plant there also. It's the van of so many tulsi plants, because when the gopis were searching for Krishna when he left the rasa dance, they approached the trees, and they approached the creepers, and they approached the deer, and they also approached the tulsi plant. So tulsi is there as a plant, and she also is the gopi Vrinda Devi, one of the main players in Radha Krishna's pastimes. And in fact, we pray to her when we sing when we go around Tulsi, we sing, or before we go around, we sing, what is that? Namo Nama Tulsi Krishna Prayasi, Namo Nama Yetamara Sharana Loy. A bunch of one that starts with an M. No. About how I want to be your maidservant. I want to be your servant and serve Radha and Krishna under your guidance. Please give me residence in Vrindavan and make me your maidservant, and under your direction I can serve. Because she's, yeah, how is that called? Yeah, thanks. Where? Third. Moraya bilas kunjadiyo bas nayane heri bosada jugalaru parasi tula si Krishna prayasi namo namo. It is my cherished desire that you grant me residence in the pleasure groves of Vrindavan. Then my eyes shall always behold the abundant beauty of the divine couple. Please accept this heartfelt prayer and make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braja. Give me the qualification to perform devotional service and make me your own maidservant. So sometimes the manjaris are under the guidance of Vrinda too, although they're always under the guidance of Rupa Manjari, but sometimes under the guidance of Vrinda Devi too. Make me your own maidservant. Does that answer your question?
The reason why I asked that is that because she has fragrance, does that affect?
Oh, fragrance. Thank you. Fragrance. Everybody has fragrance. Everybody has an overwhelming fragrance. So even the demigoddesses in heaven, their bodies smell like lotus flowers. So what to speak of Goloka Vrindavan? Now in the, you know how we offer fragrances, we offer incense, we offer the lamp, the flame with a camphor, so that also has some fragrance. So it's described, I forget whether it's Govinda Lilamrita or Krishna Bhavanamrita, that at night when Radha and Krishna are taking rest, the manjaris will massage Radharani's lotus feet and put her foot on their breast as they're massaging her feet. And their breast is the incense. No need for extra incense. That's the fragrance. And then the tips of their fingers, their nails, are so brilliant, just like flames. No need for flames. So one hint that we may want to do while offering, what do we say when we go like that with the lamp, or we go like that with the incense? We can pray, when will that day come that my own body, while I'm massaging Radharani's lotus feet, when will my body exude such a fragrance of the best of of all, more than all the incenses, perfect Agarbhatis in all the universes. Actually, I'll tell you something that Gurudev told me to, and the same thing with the lamp. When will that day come where you don't have to be like a robot and offer a ghee wick or a stick of incense? And even their musical instruments are their bodily ornaments. Although they do play instruments as well, mridanga, veena, and so on. So I once asked Gurudev, what do I pray when offering, say, a flower on the altar? He said, you can pray, "Oh Krishna, please accept my heart, which is more fragrant, beautiful, sweet than the best lotuses, lilies, jewies, baileys, chamelis in all the universes. But don't keep my heart for yourself. Offer it at the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika." And for incense too. "Oh Krishna, please take my heart, which is more beautiful, sweet, and fragrance than the best of Agarbhatis in all of existence, but don't keep it for yourself." But so that's when we pray to Krishna. But when we pray to others, like when we're offering a flower, say to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the six Goswamis, Gurudev, Prabhupada, we don't have to tell them where to put it. They know where to put it. But what we can praise for their qualities. Like, the Sad Goswami Astakam, we can, when we offer incense or flowers, we can say, "Please take my heart and give me your qualities." Okay, I guess I ran out of time.
Thank you. Hari Priya, thank you for your question. Also, thank you for
Good question.
Joining us early in the morning I think you started at 7 o'clock this morning in
Wow.
New Zealand. So I can see this bright sunshine outside. So sweet that you joined us. Syamarani, Didi, thank you so much for, I imagine this Kartik month must be very, very busy for you in Houston. So giving us your
I'm not in
precious
Houston.
time.
I'm not in Houston. I'm in Sydney, Texas, at Srila Gurudev's farm community with cows and.
Oh, you're with what's the German gentleman?
Sadananda. Abhiju Maharaj is here, and
what's the town? It's called Sydney.
Sydney. Yeah.
Sydney in Texas. Okay, wonderful. And Vasanti, thank you for organizing Syamarani to appear on time. Really appreciate it. And we'll zoom back to Radha, who's going to sing us out with Sri Damodarastakam.
Right.
Didi, just so you know, the melody for Sri Radha Kundastakam is the same as Mampunata, but it's Rishabhadanu Janasham Narmada.
Oh,
that
thank
same.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Nahamamishwaram Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Yashada Bialuka Ladhavamana Param Rishtamatyanta Totadrutya Gopya Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Rudantamoho Netra Yukmam Rijanta Karamaja Yukmena Satankanetra Mohoswasakampa Trirekha Kakanta Stita Graivadamoda Rambati Bhadam Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana. Iti Driksvalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swagashami Majanta Akyapayanta Tadiyeshita Geshu Bhaktai Jitatva Puna Prematasta Satavriti Vande Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Varam Deva Moksha Namaksha Vadema Nachanya Vrineha Varisada Piha Idam Deva Purnata Gopala Bala Sada Me Manasyavi Rastam Kimanyai Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Idante Mukham Bhaja Avyakta Nile Vritam Kuntaila Shnigta Raktascha Gopyai Mohos Chumbitam Bimba Raktadarame Manasa Virasta Alam Lakshalavyai Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Namadeva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Pracheda Prabhu Dukha Jalabdi Magna Kripa Drishti Brishyati Dinambatano Grihane Shamamagya Edakshi Drishya Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Kuveratmaja Bhada Mutraiva Yadva Tvayamachita Bhakti Vajakrita Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Sa Kamme Prayacha Namakshe Groho Mesti Damodareha Namamishvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Namaste Studamne Spuradipti Damne Tvadyadharayatha Vishwasya Damne Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namami Shvara Sachidananda Rupa Lasat Kundala Gokule Brajamana Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Radha Damodara 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hariba 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 Gaura Hariba Nitai Gaur Hariba 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 Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki Shri Kartik Vrat ki Jai
Jai.
Dev ki Jai
Jai.
Shri ki Jai Nitai Gaur Pramanandi Hari Hari
Viva. Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, everybody. Anyone can unmute now and let land prevail.